Welcome into Mavericks Today. I am Jeffrey Cooperstein. Good to see you guys. Jeremy Chugs on the ones and twos. He's a Rockets fan, so forgive him in advance. But just wanted to get you guys the latest trade rumors after a huge win against the number one seeded Minnesota Timberwolves. Kyrie Irving had a huge fourth quarter last night. Really good to see the Mavs win a game against a team with a winning record, which they haven't done much of lately. 3-0 on the homestand, so that was a very good start. But let's get to the bulk of today's show, which is the latest trade rumors. I didn't expect to see this one today. Charania of The Athletic reported, I believe it was on Kay Adams' show, don't quote me on that, but he said, the Mavericks have done their due diligence on Pascal Siakam and Jerami Grant, but the asking price is too high for the Mavericks. However, the Mavericks are focused on upgrading at the power forward position. So let's start with Pascal Siakam. And this is not a surprise to me whatsoever. Any team trading for Siakam will also want to sign him to an extension. I don't think the Mavericks are prepared to sign Siakam to an extension at this time, given he doesn't fall in that Luka and Kyrie timeline. And that kind of falls in the same category for Jerami Grant, who we'll talk about later in today's show. But as far as Siakam goes, signing him to a 5-year max deal just doesn't really fit what the Mavericks are trying to do at this point in time, especially with the assets that they would have to give the Toronto Raptors. These are your premier assets, the top 4 things that the Mavericks could give any team basically in a trade here. So obviously it's that 2027 first-round pick. They didn't have to give that up for Kyrie Irving last offseason, so they'll have that in their bag. Tim Hardaway Jr. on that affordable contract with a year and a half left. Josh Green is probably their best young player that they're willing to part with. He just signed that 3-year extension, so it's a little difficult to trade him as well. And Omax Prosper, I think any team where the Mavericks are trying to get the big fish, the other team is going to want Omax because he is a lengthy wing, and that's what teams are looking for nowadays in the NBA, are just lengthy wings. So I think that if the Mavericks were to give up any of these for Pascal Siakam, I think they'd have to give up all 4 of them, frankly, and I'm not even sure that would be enough. I think Toronto's going to want more than 1 first-round pick. They didn't get any for OG Anunoby, which absolutely shocked me. So I'm pretty sure that they're going to want to recoup some of that and try to get a multiple first-round picks there for Siakam, especially if he's wanting to sign a multi-year deal. I think Toronto's willing to let Siakam go in NBA free agency if they don't get what they want at the 2024 trade deadline. So we'll keep an eye on that one as far as Siakam goes. We'll move on to Jerami Grant here. Oh boy, this contract is something else. 5 years, $160 million, running through 2028, which is a player option. And who knows what the NBA salary cap looks like I guess that's 4 years from now. It's 2024. Player option, I would assume he's going to pick that up. I mean, Jerami Grant's a good player. He's averaging 22 points a game. He doesn't rebound, and what the Mavs are lacking at 4 right now is a defender and a rebounder. Grant can do a little bit of defending, but he doesn't really, he doesn't fit what the Mavs are trying to do. And also, he doesn't line up with the Mavs timeline either with this 5-year contract. Luka and Kyrie's deal, they both have player options in the 26-27 season. So it would make no sense to sign someone who's really beyond that. The Mavs have to keep their flexibility open. They have to keep that win now window open to try to keep Luka and Kyrie in as much of a winning state as possible, especially given the state of the NBA right now and how superstars move left and right. So let me know if the Mavericks were to trade for 1, pick a player. If it's Pascal Siakam, type S. If it's Jerami Grant, type G down in the comments section. And while you're doing that, be sure to subscribe. Sub for Maverick Stubbs. The Mavs are 3-0 on the homestand. Let's keep it going. They have the Pelicans here for 2 games as well. 7-game homestand. Let's go 7-0 on the homestand. Sub for Maverick Stubbs, and let's do it right now. Ooh, trade for Alex Caruso, the Texas A&M Aggie, who's currently with the Chicago Bulls, one of the best role players, could be available at the 2024 trade deadline. And we'll take a look at this trade here before we go into our sponsor read for today. This is cooked up by our Bulls Report host, Patrick Seatman, who had Alex Caruso coming to the Mavs. Take a look at this. For Josh Green and a 2026 first-round pick, top 3 protected. Now, I know I've tried to trade Josh Green on every single show that we've done probably over the last 2 months, so I apologize in advance, but we'll get to my thoughts here in a minute on that show. But it's time to talk about today's sponsor, Factor. Shout out to Factor. They've been absolutely awesome. If you want to get healthy, start your New Year's resolutions off with today's sponsor, Factor Meals. Factor is a ready-to-eat meal delivery service that takes the stress out of meal planning, sets you up for success in the new year. Skip grocery stores, prep work, and cooking fatigue. Instead, get chef-crafted, dietitian-approved meals delivered right to your door. With over 35 meals to choose from per week, including options like keto, calorie smart, vegan, veggie, and more. Plus, over 55 weekly add-ons, you'll have a ton of nutritious and flavorful options to kickstart your New Year's resolutions. I absolutely love Factor. I've had a couple of those meals. That sun-dried tomato chicken's absolutely fire, so go check them out. What's even better is Factor adds a load of snack options like breakfast, smoothies, juices, snacks, and more to keep you going no matter what's on the schedule. Head on over to factormeals.com/NBAchat50 and use code NBAchat50 for 50% off. That's code NBAchat50 at factormeals.com/NBAchat50 for 50% off. Shout out to Factor for sponsoring today's show. Those guys are absolutely awesome. Go check them out right now. So as far as this Alex Caruso trade goes, I was talking to some people in the office today. I like Alex Caruso, but is he exactly what the Mavericks need at this point in time? The Mavericks, like we've talked about, they're focused on upgrading at the power forward position. Caruso can play the 4, but he's not really a 4. And when you take a look at Josh Green and what the Mavericks would be giving up back in this trade, Josh Green is a guy who just has disappointed me all season long. He's played better as of late. 6.9 points per game. Nice. 2.8 rebounds per game. 46% from the field, 35% from 3. However, Green just doesn't do it consistently enough. He plays really the 2 and the 3, where it's weird because Caruso is they're kind of the same height and build, but they're more or less the same player. Caruso's a little more productive on the offensive end, averaging right at 10 points per game this season. He's also dishing out 3 assists. Much more efficient from the field as well. Alex Caruso is a guy that he's an absolute glue guy. And when you think about NBA teams and you look at the end of the season, can you picture Alex Caruso having confetti just fall all over him in the middle of June? He's a Fetty guy. Alex Caruso is an absolute Fetty guy, and I think he's someone that the Mavericks could use. However, is giving up a first-round pick worth it, even though it's top 3 protected for Alex Caruso? I'm not sure, because the Mavericks need so many other things. I think they need a backup point guard, even with Dante Exum. I think they need a starting power forward because Grant Williams hasn't worked out. The Mavericks just need a whole bunch of other things, and I'm not sure that Alex Caruso is the guy. I'm going to be willing to give up Josh Green and that first-round pick. But you guys can let me know down in the comments. Would you give up a first-round pick for Alex Caruso? Type Y for yes, type N for no. Right now, I think it's type N for no. Now, I was talked a little more into it because I think Caruso is a guy that the Mavericks could really use and the Mavericks could exploit, especially in closing lineups. You could have a closing lineup of Luka, Kyrie, Caruso at the 3, Derek Jones at the 4, Derek Lively at the 5 when he's healthy, and that could be a lineup that's going to win you a lot of games. The Mavericks were an awful team in the clutch last year, which is plus or minus 5 points in the last 5 minutes of the game. This year, they're much better. I think Caruso would only make them better, and it would be an interesting deal. So type Y for yes, type N for no. Would you give up a first-round pick for Alex Caruso? That is going to be it for today's show. Follow me on Twitter at Jeff_Coop27. Mavericks have the Grizzlies coming up tomorrow before they take on the New York Knicks on Thursday, then 2 with the Pelicans to round out the homestand. So it'll be a tough homestand for the Mavericks, but hey, they're playing good at home so far. They're currently sitting 5th in the Western Conference. Let's see if the Mavs can do it. Be sure to subscribe. We'll be back soon later this week with some more trade rumors, talk about the games and whatnot. I'm Jeffrey Guberstein. Shout out to Jeremy Chugs. We'll see you later.